Hello everyone, I hope you're having a good day so far. I appreciate you for joining me today. So in this video, I'll be sharing with you how I made light up shadow boxes using signs from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to start with fall, and this is a pretty simple project that you might love to start doing with other Dollar Tree signs. I started with painting the sign with this really pretty sage green that I love to use. You can see that I did change the color of the leaves, but I ended up changing the entire thing again. Now I wanted to give the C more definition, so I used a sponge brush and I just went around the edging. I do want to clarify that this is a DIY channel, but it's also an art channel, so some projects will take longer than others, but they will all be worth it at the end. And yes, I will have 5-minute projects on my channel, and sometimes I will be able to post at least once a week. I'm going to try to be consistent with it, so I hope that you consider sticking around, and thank you again for watching. Now I'm going to take the sponge brush and I'm just going to dab around the edging of the sign. And then I took these wooden beads. I believe it came from a frame that I used previously on a project, and I took those off and kept it, and they work perfectly. They're like the perfect size to go on this sign. At first I wanted to leave the sign this color and leave it this way, but then it occurred to me I'm doing this for fall and it didn't really feel very fall to me. So that's why I added so much more to this. So all these you see were hot glued on. The leaves are from the Dollar Tree. The artificial almond shells came in a bag I got from Goodwill along with the pine cone. And I did dry paintbrush the beads and the almonds and the pine cone with brown and white paint. And I added some orange to the sign and a little bit of brown to the leaves. And the way I painted that was by using a paper towel and then putting some paint on it and then lightly dabbing it on. Now to make this into a shadow box, it's pretty simple. I used the most affordable material I had on hand, and that was cardboard. The first thing I had to do was make my measurements, and all I really wanted was to make this go behind the C. I cut my cardboard according to my measurements, and I also cut them about 1 inch thick, so it will be about 1 inch high. After cutting my cardboard, I wanted them to have some color. I really should have just painted them, but I wanted to use this vinyl up that I had purchased a while back from the Dollar Tree, and I'm not a big fan of it, so I really just wanted to use it to get rid of it. I did have to hot glue it on because it does not stick well, so hot glue was kind of necessary. And then I just hot glued my pieces on. Hey, shh. I cut small pieces of vinyl. I cut small pieces of vinyl and Mod Podged them to the corners. I used another piece of cardboard and I measured it and cut it out, and then that's going to be my backing. And then I hot glued some vinyl onto it, and I used a skewer to poke a hole in the corner in order to run my fairy lights through. After I ran my fairy lights through, I taped them to the backing and I made them look like the shape of the C. And now I just hot glued my backing on. I hot glued my battery pack on, and I should have been more careful with the placement because I couldn't hang this since the battery pack was so big, and so then I had to improvise by using one of my scrap wood pieces, and luckily enough that was just the perfect size. I didn't have to do any cutting. It was the perfect size to fit underneath this sign, and I wouldn't have to do this if the sign wasn't so curved. So if you have like a flat sign, you don't have to do anything extra. Hey, Bubba, quiet. You're loud. Quiet. I just hot glued that on, and then I held the wood piece in place until the glue dried a little bit. I love that it can just stand on its own. I think it looks really pretty. This is how it looks during the day, and then this is how it looks during nighttime when it's all lit up. I think it did come out really pretty looking. I hope that you do too. I'm sorry that my son is really loud, but thank you for hanging in there this far. For DIY number 2, I'll be using one of Dollar Tree's Halloween signs, and I am just going to use some spackling to cover the hole. The spackling that I'm using I found at the Dollar Tree. I waited about 23 minutes for the spackle to dry, and then I just sanded it down. I'll be using black acrylic paint, and I'm just going to paint the entire thing. Once the black paint dried, I used this lime tree green paint, and I used a napkin, and I put some of the paint on, and I just dabbed that on to my sign. Now I'm going to use cardboard for this project, but first I need to make measurements. And this sign has about 6 sides, and I'm going to measure. I didn't have to measure each side because 4 are the same length and then 2 are the same length. So really I just had to make 2 measurements. I used those measurements to cut my cardboard, and then I cut them about, I want to say 1.5 inches. I did have to do some trimming, so it's not exact, but I wanted them in height. I wanted them a little tall, so it was about I'm going to say 1 inch high. And then I just hot glued them on. For the last piece, I did have to trim it down in order for it to fit. To measure the backing, I just traced it on another piece of cardboard. I painted the backing with black acrylic paint. For this project, I'll be using Halloween LED lights from the Dollar Tree, and I painted those with the lime tree green just to give it a different tint. I taped those lights to the backing, and I tried to make it so you couldn't see the tape that I used, and then I did cut a slit in the back, so that's how I can run my wire through. Now I'm just going to hot glue this on. I painted the backing all black, and then I added some of this reindeer moss on. Sorry for all the noise, my son's here right now and he's trying to play with those skeletons from the Dollar Tree. I'm never getting those again, that's for sure. So this is how it turns out, and you can also stand it upright. I really like how it came out, it's pretty cool. I do have more DIYs coming up real soon. I'm trying to do this once a week. Here they go again. Okay, thank you so much for watching this. I much appreciate it. Bye.